Please direct your attention to the screens where we will enjoy a short video from our presenting sponsor, HDR Engineering.
We've always helped communities adapt to a change. Power to the plains more than 100 years ago to reconnect how we and how we and modernity. With unique perspective, we're motivated to shape our through inclusion, collaboration, and innovation. At each, we do things possible.
Please welcome to the stage Austin Chamber President and CEO, Laura Huffman.
So it is so good to see you guys in person. Activity a little bit late, so I dropped my son off at 10. Scene down on the campus a lot like what was happening. This is in 2020. Summit. So we've grown times that happening today. Excited about special to return safe. If you use the app, safe to do that. And I'd also take this opportunity to invite members of the Chamber of Commerce Director, Austin investors to stand and be ready. Let us stand up. One active committee is the Regional Quality Committee, Chamber of Commerce. Serve on that committee. Past 18 months have been tough on all of us, both personally. We did a lot of really good work in this community. Short period of let me the best since the inception, at a time when people were happened with the businesses were growing in Austin and business you all of the time, whether it's a downturn, Austin is predicted to be the first one out. Happened again, and showed it. We almost all of the jobs in the early months of the pandemic last year. I-35 Capital Express approval of funding, that is state. So congratulations to everyone that. So approved Project Connect, and that today 58% agreed during middle clear part. In 2019, more direct success. The trick is complacent. So 2020 explosive growth, and all. Here's what it boils. Things that we have to get right every single time. People come to Austin because they believe in anyway. Important as business HDR.
Our by how we connect and what we'll as our coffee in this room. Tucker Ferguson, tech engineer, go and reimagine I-30 and to improve our east. Program, a project, parks, amenities, where a corridor currently stands between and East Austin. We'll be joined. James will talk about some a forward look at a few ground in the next. We'll come back for some final. You'll see in the back for your operations and order. Mr. Our Chief in Urban Design with the Austin.
Good afternoon. Nice to see everybody in person. Randy Clark was, so I'll do my, I'm Peter, architecture with the Chamber Summit. Back in 2018, seems like a lot ago at this point, community needed to come on a really big vision. So it's really the first time we actually moved that forward to reality. Really great policymakers and partners. Is a huge forward to create a more sustainable, more equitable, livable city. More opportunity, jobs, healthcare, and the of in our communities. Rail system, subway. Fleet. Some of the historic inequity that have actively bring resources. This is important to advance operations for a more City of Austin, Mukherjee from Cat Metro. Having agencies represent the panel is just a demonstration of active commitment and partnership to deliver equity. I'll turn it over to Sandy.
Go ahead and get started right away. Get you everyone to their brown. Our PCR test. I am COVID free. You can come near me. Congratulations. Oh, great. Here we go. A little bit better. Great. Joining us today, Peter did travel lane, but I did Google a good friend, Miss Google. factors is an impact. Equity really today Beaudet with the City of Austin, the Sustainability Officer, Verónica Castro, the Chair of the Austin Partnership, wonderful ladies, and I'm not going to read a bio. Introduce them in a thread of their career. Well, just started, Annick.
See everybody in person as departments. It's action. Ready. That is what's new and this phase in transportation. Plan and mobility plan, and when we embarked on that planning process or started, and we probably are all that mean for and what of that we but we'll talk 300 million that was approved.
As the Austin Transit Partnership. Journey is so I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. In streets and school, and the impact of my inspiration in see a nurture with my mother in a gated community from every without knowing my presence in language. What does that mean? Go walk, buy milk, car for survival. economy of architecture and vulnerable walking. Where we did a project for the community that gave me a more curiosity, passion became even years. Project Connect and all of you for supporting, and for you who were not embracing the program yet, trust that we can with not just the cars, make the car so and transformative.
I'm Sharmila Mukherjee. And I moved to Austin for this position about 18 months ago. That was during COVID, but I was supported by a couple of them on the panel today, Annick from the very beginning. And what's today DS6 work that was laid by professionals includes the View of Austin Metro. They laid the foundation for this to really excited to be part of this journey. So what brings me I really and professionally. I learned how schedule behind the planning. Initially, vehicle to me say became a buzz. It's share stories. We were using team experiences. We don't have to reverse engineer our steps more. I think we're how to best contextualize equity. In its process.
Right. You know, the And, how it's a little bit.
That will deliver the program. And doing this, the board to deliver task with issuing the building that will work along Capital Metro and along together, something in a way to Austin with that based good experience from other cities. So we're using it as a we'll have the oversight of each other deliver complex programs. Austin. So funding the taxpayer and efforts. And we're doing package tracks. So meet a deadline. So part of the Metro Rapid system service. And really what we're trying to do is with the city, we're going to be housing and the oversight board reimburse the city for that funding mechanism. You know, reach out, help us advise, course going or meeting your expectations. Are a younger. We do want to do something unique, and we're telling the who are here. Right, we have to be the norms and setting things better for how can we transit partnership? Well, I think it's in transit as a program. This program, one of you paying your system have a ask of each of you be the us the patience and the grace to make sure this
we're working on.
Thank you.
Also a little bit more, $300 million.
I believe we are the transit preventing displacement, really thinking about today who may or may not be dependent, but maybe also thinking about and how transit and us into the future. And so it's correct. City affordable housing departments and affordability issue and how to in Austin, and with that community programming funding is for. There is, I want to, there's always more need for funding. So $100 million is a lot of money. This and you know, do this. It's all capable. An assessment tool to $6.8 billion for infrastructure. Rip up the wow. What for voters and those who displacement in creating the equity. How do we invest it in ahead of and doesn't react? New local government. There, people say they're flying it, like so are we. Right, we're trying to spend 2018 funding with the 300, but we're a little bit on the 300. To do that, and so we really slow down, listen to the community. We've got the tweet, and within the next few weeks, quote me on that. I don't know the date, but happen aware of, and you become aware of it if questions thinking about them. So it's not about. So it's going to be in tandem time-wise with the investments program our project, which is Connect.
You mentioned, is that going to be publicly or just
It
internal?
will. Publicly soon, within the, I think is a.
Great. Well, as y'all can. If you could hit on the
So I think it's very because COVID already had our greatest needs. Commuter route to actually had a local route, and we realized where our and we intuitively, but data midst of COVID, when many of us in terms of how we blend equity in our service balance between what we Metro Rapid line. It is, I would say, I just, in the same, Annick talked about $1 million start, but it's not of that. We have very other supportive Chamber supporters and would take, will take part in our service planning. We have said our civil of 1964 for provided us. So we know planning. We know if it's going to impact. Service planners are essentially members of that, but over the years, a process that so becomes that process. Understand we have multiple on a day-to-day basis, taking into account and what's happening. Through that, we more and more on the we have Capital Metro and ATP a lead, and then South Lamont and Gold Line following suit. So for a Metro Rapid project. They will change the community even deadline.
Starting to see a system. It's really exciting to see that. Speaking of systems, you're on the ground. Could you talk a little bit?
To Jackie Near, who's carrying meetings, but going to have a deadline. It's always an ongoing process. One particular thing that we dealing with and put out a call, advices on technical. Third is engagement sustainability aspects of that one is also an overarching, very community members who are dedicating a lot of time to help guide us and, you know, eyes and ears of the community and bringing us unison. So that so interested in participating, please apply, and we're happy to have your knowledge and your
going to incorporate a lot of best practices. Here to hear a little bit about learning, talking. Practices, thinking about implementation, really and later today about a lot of in the community. We know that different parts of our community in different ways.
Yeah, it's a good question. And equity, what does that mean? Like if you asked everyone in this room, they can tell you what they think. Back to the question, the expert, shout out to Brian Oakes, our equity and I believe an equity focused.
It's coordinated.
Yeah, and we're all working closely together. And Brian was really looking at with department staff at the very from the city of Austin. The tool was ask yourself who really is professional, engagement professional. it's the times, it's the pandemic, it's to out who's to do less harm. We may be able to, but to me, that's what the to do is going to help who the folks million through, and the tool is open. Who wants to use the room? It's going.
Of diversity, complexity.
Across our community. And well, you know, as an audience, all our of commerce, you are being reliable. That you along partners and I do think that your employees, companies that are arrived had to be organically from population serves access journey and to give up on us. I mean, I think I can't say it. We're not going to build our way out, and I think we have an awareness of this. I thank you for sharing the impact the pandemic has had. Awareness, essential worker. We are all in the room, all enormous, because we were to lead our lives, because we had access to food. Sacrifices of so many people. I hope that Mayor Adler has national program when a lot of cities did not. When a lot of Austin said, wait any longer. And we owe it to all. So I give you all a round of applause, and I think that's a good. It's like I shout out, celebrate this, and I hope take this opportunity to together as a city every
because we own this program, and all.
Did you want to add?
One learning as a little bit at the city. 300 million is being administered to housing and the project office. We FY20 will have about looking at utility, EIS. Really, and I know everybody is going to go. Service goal is to look at permitting, how we're utilities, what is the and that is the Project Connect office and report to between more displaced. It's a forever journey. You're never, and I encourage you all, if you haven't equity programs within your, and then I also in the city that gentrification includes displacement of not only people, that's in our minds as I'm talking to the community. So
I cut my teeth working on. I can't tell you how where we are. We were back, all of the looking back, if only, vision and the passion that you have to bring to fruition. Exciting for what it's going to mean. So the awesome term social and economic Texans. So much, everybody. For their today. Please, your 10-minute back in this.
Is this on? Nope, there it is. All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Lacey, this thing, it's cutting in and out. We're going to get started. What is it doing? Everybody have a seat. I'm trying to figure out this microphone. There it is. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? It seems like this thing, okay, there it is. All right, so those of you with ties, raise your hand if you had to YouTube how to put this thing on. Welcome back from the break. My name is Kevin Young. I'm Vice President in Central Texas leader with Jacobs, and connectivity. Very honored and excited to be a part of the event. Jacobs, we built environments to Mars. Close to Texas to solve some of our big challenges. Texas Department of Transportation on Mobility 35 here. And I'd like to colleague Tucker to the stage. He's some very important updates on the major projects that Texas is undertaking. It's the district engineer, Austin District, as y'all know, County and 11 other counties in the area. Tucker will share a proposed update 35, as well as of how to improve east-west and improvements. Without further ado, everyone, please welcome Mr. Ferguson.
And a lot of information to cover on I-35, and we've heard a lot of good information. Excited for this opportunity to and mobility and activity issues, address congestion on I-35. A project or a segment really seen any significant improvement since the 1990s. And details here today with you of what we're looking to do as we go forward. So I'm going to focus on the I-35 Central project, which is bracketed by State Highway or US 290 on the north side and Ben White on the south side. It's about 8.5, 9 mile segment of project, what we call CapEx Central. And really the need for this project number one. As you can see, the ADT, or the annual daily traffic on highway I-35, is about 200,000 vehicles a day. And when the last expansion was done in the mid-1970s, the population of Austin was about 308,000 people. It's grown today to about 2.1 million, and by 2045 is expected to be over 4.5 million in population. These two projects, and innovation, this is not one solution. It was mentioned, we can't build our ways out of congestion due to part of the city and Cap Metro and Project Connect, but also with our project as well. So growth to 280, 290, 300,000. Majority It needs upgraded because it does have a crash rate that's higher than the typical highway of this type on a statewide basis. So for many factors, we are looking forward to the improvements of I-35 and what we're doing on this project. In a slide. But I wanted to show this because 2 years ago, this was the slide that I used, and focusing on that bullet point in the lower right-hand corner saying construction starting contingent on funding. Well, 2 years ago when I made this presentation, we did not have the funding for this project. And it was mentioned by Laura early on in the opening remarks that last year, our $9 billion is fully funded, and what it's going to provide is the additional capacity that I talked about that will be needed with the tidal wave of population and business growth that's coming our way, to the tune of 2 non-toll managed lanes in each direction. In a minute, but improve operations on the existing, will be lowering the traffic. See the upper right now. Lower those throughout the entire project. The decks will be removed. Bridge to connect to reconnect these the different modes, pedestrians, east-west connections at 5th Street, and new pedestrian crossings at just south of Airport Boulevard, as well. 51st Street. We'll also be safety by lowering design speeds on the front. 16 miles of shared use paths will make and make more accessible to everyone, and also look forward to enhancing it past lanes that I'll address in a minute. One thing I want to a lot of attention recently is a couple of community to consider reconnect Austin, rethink I-35, walk Austin, and it goes by a variety of names. A community-driven approach that would basically bury all of I-35 below ground level and cap it from Cesar Chavez to about MLK, and then redevelop the ground on top of it with a boulevard type of section. To a 6 or a 7 lane boulevard with stop lights at a variety of cross streets. And we felt it was important enough, and we had enough feedback that we felt that we needed to bring in TTI, so the Texas Transportation Institute. We contract standpoint of if we did this, what would be the traffic flow, what would be the impact, how would it operate, and would it be beneficial? Ask them this, what would I have no idea what I did. So the projected traffic volumes and patterns using the 2045 peak volume changes, what we'd expect to 35. And looking at the legend, if you see a road that is color-coded in red, That means that we expect traffic volumes to increase. The growth of traffic on I-35, and that's okay. We believe that there's a lot of traffic that uses secondary routes right now that is interstate traffic, and but as you move across to Reconnect Austin, to Rethink Austin, as those two concepts would somewhat choke down and make less accessible the access ramps to I-35, and in the case of Rethink Austin would eliminate the appear, but it begins to bleed over into the city network. And the city network is not designed to carry those volumes. It's not. That in and of themselves, as standalone concepts, that these were not viable, especially Rethink 35, but Reconnect is. See that, but we really don't think that's the right thing to do by taking interstate traffic. And however, the good news is that many of the elements in Reconnect Austin and Rethink 35 are things that minimizing additional right-of-way that we would need. And we go on and on. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but the enhanced cross streets decks will come down, and you could expect to see something like the rendering at the bottom. Look like. We have buffer zones of up to 20 feet. We have shared use paths of up to 10 feet that will be separated from traffic lanes. This shows some potential artwork and aesthetics that we can incorporate. And all of these things were components and elements of the two concepts that I mentioned. Urban Land Institute's program and Downtown Austin Alliance, and we're very pleased to partner with the City of Austin and DAA presentation, because I think he's going to be talking about a lot of this next. So I just want to make it very clear that we are working with DAA and Mike and his team, and it's been a great partnership looking at these opportunities where we can put some caps and possibly and these elements will be rolled into our project wherever we can make those happen. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the aesthetic program. We'll be reinvigorating our reflect the character of the city It could include shade structures, nice enhanced bike lanes, sidewalks, panels, artwork, landscaping, those types of things. Decorative lighting is something else that we'll look at incorporating. We're very excited about this because we know it's very important to the community, and we want to make as we go through the environmental process, doing known options still, and we appreciate the from this community to this point, and we ask that continued comment period right now. So, in suggestions to how to make the project better in September, but anything this community can to continue the project, we would really, so we can build something benefit this and give you an up to come on I-35. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker. It's great to get an update on what's happening with Mobility 35 and see the progress that's being made there. I'm Scott Haywood. I'm the South Central Texas office leader for HNTB. We've been helping communities connect people, and it started the in 19, and today thinking the future of transportation, creating infrastructure solutions together opportunities. HNTB results security for our employees in Texas. We care about the quality of life for Texans, and our infrastructure enhance through all in our community. Here in Austin, about all the transformative projects discussed today. We're going to positively impact this community for decades. Much activity around infrastructure. It's really exciting to see that taking place today. An opportunity to introduce the Moderator program office with the city of Mike has more than experience in management and administration, serving government from both the public and private sectors, including the last 10 years with the city of Austin. As Tucker mentioned, Mike is going to provide an update on the City of Austin's I-35 Cap and Stitch program.
Perfect that I followed because he's up. I mean, about the highway project, and so of what TxDOT's looking at, Express Central project doing for mobility for our region, an off-ramp bit about with this project. So let me get to, there we go. So has meant for our community. It's been a physical and symbolic dividing line between East and West in our community. A lot of legacy of segregationist policies on the city's behalf. Just unique to Austin, that happened in several communities around the nation post-World War II with the highway construction we're dealing with in city. Community Central project, and so this is some of the ways that I has been, that physical elevated lanes, also at the upper lower decks, and again, just has been a less than inviting crossing for the community to get from East Austin to downtown, and then also just and us to think about the current condition of what I-35 is. And so the opportunity that we're presented with is that TxDOT is looking to depress those lanes through downtown, really kind of all the way through, beginning at Airport, all the way down to Lady Bird Lake in both. That's us to reconnect the community. The city asked me to lead this project on, and I felt really after the ULI study with the downtown, and a lot of folks were a part of that. Maybe you were just watching happening and got a briefing on the report, but that report to recommend with the Capital Express reconnect East. To do that is a series of that we can do now. Space and amenity. It can be event space, park space, concession space. There's a lot of different uses for it. We don't series of stitches into the Cap Express Central project, and we're very happy to hear that, Tucker, and very glad to partner with TxDOT on that. And so we're get pedestrians, bikes behind the curb, possibly in a shared use path or other means, landscaping, other amenities, and so we're very excited about that opportunity. Along with this, we also have an opportunity to even do some extended stitches and make even wider crossings. And this is just a summary of the ULI report that was done and what the recommendations were. So they had recommended a series one from 6th to 8th Street and 11th to 12th Street. And that recommendation was based on some of the analysis and information that they received from Downtown Austin Alliance and the TxDOT project team. We've been able to identify some additional opportunities, at least at this. We've been able to identify that not only all the ULI recommended locations can be done, but potentially an addition at the nearest example we have of a CAP project, the Clyde Warren CAP amenity for Dallas. It gets a lot of traffic. A lot of folks use this for to get away and have a nice park amenity. And so again, other key stakeholders to figure out as far as for Austin. Do some plants, possibly trees in a planter configuration on that crossing, and then also aspect can come in of what we could do is this is a mural that really represents the historical black community that was there and really done in conjunction with the community, and we're looking to do that as well, working for to move this project forward. A lot of things to figure out, exactly what goes on those caps, what does that look like, how does that really help to reconnect the community and really meet our community objectives, address those legacy issues that we deal with in the East-West divide, and then also we have to figure out the funding, and that's going to be the fun part. And so those are the things that we're going to be looking at over the next couple of years to make sure that we can get the best configuration of what goes on those caps, the best amenities for the community, and then figure out actually how to get this done. And so our timeline is very contingent upon the TxDOT timeline. So right now, that's why we're working. So that's a big win for And that's really all I have. And thank you for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. My name is Mark. I'm with our core values of integrity and excellence fuels everything we do. We can more than 20 years of local experience to create strong networks, relationships, serve our clients. Civil engineering, surveying, and environmental consulting, number of mobility target, land development, and ILC over 100 are blessed and proud to have been in Central Texas. Well, please join James Bass. The newly opened a toll road, as well as provide future projects. James? Thank you. Or all that is in you, and so I will try and go through presentation, but what a fast. So, RMA, we are a regional group here in
and guide us in our day-to-day activities. And we are one regional partner. We work with the counties, as I mentioned, the cities, with Campo, and with TxDOT as well. And I want to do a quick, informal, and very unscientific survey. And by unscientific, I mean just answer the questions in your own mind. Don't feel a need to raise your hand at all. How many toll operators are there in the office? But at times, they challenge tag and they choose through pay by mail or and if you drive up the area with NTTA process. So I have who get a pay by mail entity and in the following week the other entity. So that's why we, convenience standpoint, the operators within interoperable. And so CTRMA are agnostic. On a TxDOT road and a CTRMA road and an NTTA road and a HECRA road, I get that in one consolidated bill and can continue to move forward, and it's just less hassle for our customers, we believe. Now, from the earlier slide, 290 is operated by CTRMA and State Highway 130 is by TxDOT, but we were able to partner together and build 3 different direct connectors in that intersection to help the movement and mobility, so drivers moving from one roadway to the other no longer have to exit, go through a signalized intersection, and continue on their way. They're able to make that much more seamlessly. And to show you what's going on there, you can see on this slide, on the outside of this slide are the non-tolled general purpose lanes of US 183. I know they're marked as frontage roads, but technically, I'll geek out a little bit. They are the non-tolled general purpose lanes of US 183. And in that median that's been there for years, the contractor is going in project. Those that travel 183 between Mopac and State Highway 45 North, you may have noticed that at times there's a fourth general purpose lane, and at times it disappears, and at times it reappears. And so one of the things going on in this project is that non-tolled fourth lane will become continuous. It's going to be built, thanks again through a partnership with TxDOT. That fourth lane will become continuous throughout the corridor. And in the middle, in that median, once again, we will be building a 2x2 tolled express lane in that corridor, which will then have a direct connector and connection to the southbound up as people get on the frontage road and trying to enter Mopac from Windsor and the infield area going southbound. And we did some analysis and looked downstream. And so we have a project in the planning stages we hope to take forward to construction in the middle part of next year that'll add some auxiliary lanes and some an additional lane to allow for some weaving and another project that we are currently working with stakeholders and others is looking at restarting the Mopac South environmental study. This project hopefully by the end of this calendar year. And our hope is to really pick up right where we left off. So a few years ago, we had an open house number 4 where we brought information to the public in order to get their feedback. But again, re-engage the public, start that conversation with them once again to see what it is that they want and need through this project. And if you want any information on the projects that are under construction, hopefully it's fairly intuitive, the website that you'd go to, 183A, 183A.com. Go through and you can actually sign up for project newsletters, construction updates, and we'll send that to your email if you're only interested in one of the projects. Go to that website. On this page as well. And I think I've run through that. And Laura, I'll now turn it over to you to wrap us up.
Okay, now I am literally the only thing standing between you and the First, I want to thank a huge amount of information I'll just received a couple of hours. And it's so in person and to visit and grab a drink. Please to be here, and they'd love to visit with you. Top line today, these projects across all of the speakers. First, we've got happening. Then we really long time in Austin when it comes to mobility, infrastructure, transportation. Takeaway across all of the projects comprehensively. Each is tackling one thing at once. Perfect. None of these are roadways, railways. These are all to solve. Maybe the last two are. I saw a lot of coordination between organizations, not always coordinated. So, TxDOT to the Austin. It's CTRMA refreshing you all into in your plan. People, and it's about design, and design matters. So these stories project is going to solve, and appreciate that approach. Then you get an email from the word like alert in it. It is usually that these we are at really points in all of these projects are nowhere near done with projects, and we need you to weigh in with support because the project at a moment, either at the state or at the city or at CTRMA in that 5 try to make it super to weigh. Please take the time to do it. See that these agencies, you know, they've got Twitter accounts. I mean, engagement matters. That you're really important, and one way that we to you is to make that easy. So, with this concludes our ability in the back drinks and would love to visit with you more. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.